shut mouth betrays a lack of skill.
Prepare for battle.
There's only one way to see
The dusk is always ready for a fight.
Straight to the bottom with you.
Hey everybody, hey everybody.
Quinn's a noob. Today I learned.
That's definitely not getting clipped out of context. Good way to start that one. Setting yourself up for failure has always been one of your strong suits.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, fan.
What a
Thank
nice
you.
sign. How wholesome.
Now cross out Syndarin's name.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's probably the thing you
30
should be doing.
seconds
Yeah.
to battle.
What a switch up. Can I just say, this is 9 new heroes compared to last game, and if you want to count that the Alchemist is on the opposite team, it's actually 10.
Yeah.
So complete switch up. We were talking about how Tundra needed to make some adjustments. They made all the adjustments they possibly could. They didn't even prioritize their own Mars as #1. They went for the Shadow Demon on Saksa, which in my opinion might be one of Saksa's top 3 best heroes of all time, together with his Tusk, and I don't know what the third one is. I should not have dug that hole.
Okay, good job.
But definitely those two. His Shadow Demon is amazing. On the same side of Gaming Gladiators, they have, you know, a lot of their bread and butter. They've got the Underlord, which is one of their best heroes. I would say the Celery Enigma is a bit of a deviation. He plays this hero very well, but I don't know how sold I am on this playing into an off-lane Kunkka. This should be a very, very good lane matchup for the side of Tundra this time around, and I think no matter what happens, it's very unlikely to follow the same trajectory of the previous game, right? Like, the lineups are just too different.
Well, you say that now. I'm not sure. We'll see.
I might have to eat those words in 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, Gaimin have, it feels like they're predictably unpredictable in a way, where you know the kind of strat they're going to be using, but you don't know how they're going to do it exactly. Like with what heroes. Let's see if they can do it with 5 brand new heroes. But they do play fast pretty much every single time.
Yeah.
So Tundra's all about defending. I mean, what is the best strat against Gaimin, would you say? Just like as a mindset? Like, get to a certain point of the game and we're golden kind of thing, or?
I definitely think the #1 thing you don't do is be too greedy. I think that's the biggest Achilles heel that a lot of the teams, and I want to say especially the Chinese region, has struggled with against Gaming Gladiators the last 2 years, is that they have picked 2 weak lanes and heroes that need to farm too much.
Yeah.
And then they lose the lanes and they lose the mid game and they never get to play their lineup. So I think the #1 foundation playing against this team is you need to be competitive in lanes. You don't have to win them, but you need to do well enough that you can get to stage 2 of the game, and then you need to out-execute them, in particular, I would say, in one team fight. If you beat these guys in one team fight between minute 15 and 20, a lot of the time that can be enough. We've seen Gaimin bleed at this tournament in multiple games where a team just outplays them once or twice and the script kind of falls apart. The problem is that they're so extremely good at playing this way that you really have to bring your A game, whereas maybe against certain other teams in this tournament you can, you know, play maybe at 85% of your potential and it might cut it. Against Gaimin you generally need to bring like 95 plus. It's a very tight window you need to hit every game.
Well, the winner of this series gets the pleasure of facing off against Team Liquid, which Gaimin versus Liquid would be, what, the 100th time this year, I think?
Yeah.
And Liquid have lost every single time, basically.
If you're in the audience or you're watching at home and you're like, Liquid versus Gaimin, I've never seen that match before. That is the ultimate self-report that you've not followed Dota for 2 years.
Yeah.
So don't say that around your friends that you're trying to impress, unless you're trying to impress them with how much other stuff you do aside from watching Dota.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. If you have a life, congratulations.
Yep.
You're in the minority here, for sure.
So let's insult the audience again. The Sunspan Classic. Disruption into Torrent. But they're not going to pursue.
There it is. As we have a concoction from Duraccio. With the acid spray being laid down for Ramses. Just a little bit of harassment back and forth. Already 2 stacks of Shadow Poison from Saksa, though, onto Celery. And the third will connect. He's going to pop the stick. Blood Grenade applied as well. Not able to get the 4th, though, as Saksa eventually run down. And Celery will take a bit of damage here, but should be able to survive. So first blood for Gaimin again.
And I would say a little bit of an unexpected one of the kind. This was not the first lane I was expecting to see a kill in, and if it were, it would maybe have been potentially on the Enigma. But yeah, as the side of Tundra, got to be a little bit careful with throwing out all your spells just to harass, because you're opening a counterplay possibility for the Alchemist immediately there, and they will take advantage of that. So probably lesson learned here for the side of Saksa and Ramses. But unfortunately, when you're playing against an Alchemist Enigma lane, just getting that level 3 on Enigma is already a very big deal. And he's managed to do this without too much of an issue. So I think once again, Gaimin are going to be pretty happy with the start that they've had.
So from Tundra's perspective, what is their, like, I don't want to say time limit. We're going to see Pit of Malice applied. Well, okay, nice snowball to mitigate some of this, but they're both going to get rooted again.
Oh.
Big scatterblast to follow. Pure now on the run. But Whitemon will have his fat body in the way, so no harm done in the end.
What do you think about Drow attacking Underlord and his health bar moving 1%? Do you think Pure is enjoying that, or?
Well, depends on if he's a masochist or not, I suppose.
Should I pick Queen of Pain then?
Perhaps ask him after this series is over. Note for Nomad.
Whether he wins or loses, did you enjoy when you couldn't damage the enemy off laner? Did it remind you of Poor Man's Shield from before you were born?
You know, the funny thing is, I'm completely segueing here. It's not related at all to what you just said. When I think of Ace as a player, Cinderin, I actually think of Underlord. I know he plays a lot of heroes, but Underlord's, like, for some reason, his signature that I think of.
I would agree with that in particular because it's the hero he plays the most that others don't, right? I think that's why it stands out, is that he prioritizes it so much more than every other team in this tournament. And there was, I also think a part of it is when Gaimin kind of made a name for themselves, Underlord was one of their pocket strategies in the beginning. And then it just became a standard strategy that everybody came to expect. But it was one of the, I believe it was one of the first, I'm blanking on which tournament it was. It was when the, it was when we got the bigger map, I think. Yeah. They ran this almost immediately with great success because he has a global ability and he is able to farm a lot, buy auras, and take advantage of all this new potential.
Yeah, Fiend's Gate has really changed how this hero, well, not really. It's changed the way the hero plays in the mid game where you're actually transitioning to other lanes as opposed to before. I feel like it was more of a getaway. You'd rarely see it used. Yeah. The old ult, which I can't, it was Dark Rift, actually, I do believe. But of course, Cinderin had a great idea for an ult for Underlord, sent it to Ice Frog, and they put it in the game.
Which it turns out someone else had that idea 10 years earlier on the Play Dota forums. But you know, I'll take credit.
That's what they tell you to make you feel bad. It was all you.
All right, you're a good friend. Occasionally.
Pure, okay.
You really try.
Dyrachyo.
Classic Dyrachyo gets
and that's going to be a stun on himself as Pure going to get cooked by
Shards.
Shards going to force Whitemon away. And Pure, he's taking a decent amount of damage, but more rotations come from Soxa and company. So this little wraparound from Gaimin not able to find a kill.
Really good play from both teams, though, to be honest. I think the rotation from Dyrachyo there was not an obvious play, so that initiation to begin with was quite clever, but Tundra did a very good job line of sighting him, so he's done himself, and then Whitemon with some really crucial ice shards blocking off Enigma from finding Malefice onto Drow.
By the way,
100% kill.
You mentioned this matchup. Ramses is 50-14 versus Dyrachyo's 31-5.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think it would be this bad. That's pretty crazy.
Fortunately, Quinn has a haste run and he'll go kill the enemy carry, so Dyrachyo's still far ahead of Pure. And now they're going to die.
Whitemon cookied up.
He's
the snowball. Yeah. Onto the siege. But he is surrounded and will eventually be killed off. Only question is who will get credit for it. It will be Ace. And now the tier 1 tower is next.
Straight back to mid for Quinn. Job well done. He got 2 kills on the bottom lane, and now he's going to get back to defend his tower and farm. Easily top net worth in the game. Maybe Moon inspired him a lot with that great speech. Moon has been known for his speeches.
Oh, yeah.
And he really lit a fire onto Quinn, saying he's bad at this hero because he's only level 6.
Yeah, Quinn definitely heard that through the soundproof.
That's a fair point, but sometimes you just feel the vibe. You know, he saw Moon. Okay, he saw Moon walk out onto the stage to be interviewed, and he knew what it was about. He didn't need to hear anything.
That's fair. I've heard enough of him.
Yeah.
Nice block off here as Quinn actually cannot get to the low ground. Will Burrow strike Topson though, who waning rips away. Soxa. Good rotation over as well. Topson will be able to get away and secure the invisibility room.
And we even tried to get that kill with a deep, with the full bore scatterblast, but not quite from Tofu. He had already jaunted away on the puck, so still looking like a good start for Gaimin Gladiators, which is, you know, how it tends to go in a lot of their games.
Yeah.
But I will say in comparison to the previous game, as I mentioned, the nature of the strategies are very different, and I wonder if Gaimin can still find this balling up window. They're going to be relying on a different nature of building the auras. As the panel talked about, Celery can buy them on Enigma, but I think it's likely he'll get them slower than on Chen. He won't have that global heal, which is an addition to that aura strategy. Instead now of the Brood, they're running the Underlord, which I would say on average farms slower than Brood, so I think it's a bit of a plan B as well. So all in all, probably not going to hit the exact same window, but it could still be the same trajectory just 5 minutes later. And Tundra will do everything in their power to try to avoid that. Currently, what Thompson's doing mid is very good for that. Almost taking the mid tier 1 tower on the puck, minute 9.
Drinking buddies with the coil attached. Oh, he actually does not break it. He's still in the high ground. The snowball does secure the kill, but Ace has come in with the Pit of Malice now onto Whitemon, who's eventually going to get chased out, so it will likely just be a 1-for-1 trade.
Here's your shovel! Dick!
That's a Firestorm, and the Necro Book will assist.
Yep. In case you don't know what that is, it says that it summons Necronomicon units, and it's on you to Google what that means.
That's right.
That's information for old players. If you're a young or a new player in Dota 2, certain things are just...
So there's a rite of passage in Dota.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just got to
That is a very good way of design.
That
So
is
mid-tier 1 down.
stacks.
Thompson will get the mid-tier 1 tower sub 10 minutes as puck. I want to say that's very, very unusual. So took good advantage of the fact that Quinn was rotating to put some pressure on the tower and just never left. He's kept pushing the tower the whole time. He's still 1,000 gold behind the Sand King, which I find quite surprising. But, you know, it's Sand King, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised that even though you have barely left your lane on the puck.
It's Quinn Sand King, as Moon put it, right? As Whitemon. He's going to break this smoke, Tofu and Quinn. Okay, he actually puts down a ward as well.
Oh, he walks into them.
Yeah, they see him in the trees. Can he juke? Oh, Burrow Strike missed.
He can.
Quinn Sand King, as the great Moon Meander once said 10 minutes ago.
You learn this stun on level 10 as Sand King. I don't mean hero level, but of course Dota Plus level.
Yeah, Dota Plus.
Very unfortunate he was actually level 10. That made the joke really bad.
I was going to say, I think Silver is level 10. There's Moon Meander on the bottom right. We have a gank here. Quinn, he's going to get the Burrow Strike correctly used here, as Whitemon will take a tumble.
It was just a setup to bait more heroes to rotate and then make the same play again.
And Thompson, just being a bit of an annoyance, will use the Illusory Orb to jaunt away. So he's going for the Witchblade. You can see Dyrachyo, obviously the Alchemist Radiance, no big surprise. I mean, I guess last game was kind of up in the air what Thompson wanted to go for just because it was a mid, but position 1 pretty much always going to be Radiance.
Now on the other side, you mentioned the Kunkka. He's top net worth in the game over an Alk who has 70 CS minute 11. So Ramses has got 125, including 2 massive stacks in their own area. So really prioritizing getting an early pipe on him. And it seems to be the mindset here for Tundra. Similar to previous game, just that in the sense that they want to defend their towers. But I think this time around, Ramses can find a much, much bigger impact with how good of an early start he has. You add the Rum to that from the Ghost Ship. And they have some amazing teamfight combos with the puck plus coil.
Speaking of coil, will be used. Thompson's already kind of low on HP as the Fiend's Gate's coming. Mortimer's Kisses doing a decent amount of work as Ramsey's going to get stuck inside of the pit. The Burrow Strike will be there as well. He gets Drinking Buddies though. Soxa will self-disrupt. Likely will fall here as the Black Hole comes from Celery. That's the death of Soxa, and Ramsey's probably next on the list. Indeed he is. And they even find Thompson on the other side. So Gaimin Gladiators, they look at their HP. Like nobody's even damaged here basically. It's a 3 for nothing.
You've got to be super careful with fight selection. They have some good skirmishing heroes, but yeah, as you said, the damage isn't really the best just yet. Puck needs the Witchblade. You ideally need a couple more levels on the Shadow Demon and the Tusk to pull this off. And when you're playing offlane utility Kunkka with pipe first, this hero doesn't deal good damage. That was a 5-on-4. Pure never joined, so they're missing that carry output. To be fair, I don't think he should have joined. I just think they shouldn't have taken that initiation to begin with. And Gaimin Gladiators say, thank you very much for going on us. We're going to gate in and just crush you with numbers. That was very, very easy. You got to be careful as Tundra already now. That was a very big mistake. And that snowballs fast.
It was a 2k lead for Gaimin before that with Alchemist, so probably roughly even. 6k now after 1 fight. It snowballs really fast.
Yeah.
Dyrachyo, Sacred Relic in tow, just about 100 away from finishing
Actually,
Full Radiant
has
now.
it. I wonder why maybe he's waiting for the TP scroll as well, I guess. But yeah, that's going to be a 13-minute Radiant. It's not the fastest, but it's solid. And overall, the game is fine for
It's
them.
off the X. The Torrent did not hit, but they should have enough damage. Obviously, Celery without the Black Hole still.
It's a
Charge block him in.
slow kill, though. Still.
Yeah, they just don't have
hurt,
damage,
but-
do they?
Yeah.
I mean, Drow is going to be their damage if Pure can get there.
Yeah, there's a reason this hero hasn't been particularly popular this tournament. She's not that great in lane. She's not that fast to come online. And in a meta where a lot of teams are focusing on fighting around that 15 to 20 minute mark to really build their advantage, Drow is just pretty far down the list of heroes that I think is appealing for that. So maybe Tundra.
Well, I think I could be wrong, of course. Usually am, in fact. If they get to a later stage of the game, Aghanim Scepter for Drow is crazy against basically any Gaimin Gladiators lineup. Right?
She is very good.
Hypothermia, very strong.
For sure. But again, as we talked about in the previous series, this is the mistake that a lot of teams make against Gaimin, is that they think too far into the game.
Yeah.
I think against this team, you should think about what's our strategy for the first 20 minutes, then you drill that, figure out how you do it, and then whatever comes after is second consideration. I think any lineup where you're planning for minute 40 is a mistake. Once the 20-minute goal has been achieved, then you can start planning for minute 40. And, well, right now, came in with a 7,000 gold lead, and the dive here.
Spotted. Concoction's coming for him with the Burrow Strike and the Epicenter. Nice disruption from Soxa. Gonna mitigate a ton of that damage. The Kunkka's stuck inside the pit, though, as Soxa's facing the rain of Dyrachyo, who will eventually run him down. Ramses is actually the first to fall, though, as Soxa's somehow living this long, but not for much longer. So it is 2 kills for Gaimin.
I don't think Soxa meant to disrupt the Sand there. I think he actually misclicked and wanted to disrupt the Kunkka, because the Epicenter as well as the Sandstorm were still running, so the disruption actually didn't do that much. But in all honesty, I don't know if it really matters. I think if he saves him for another 5 seconds, what's that going to do? He got all of his spells out in the Kunkka. The simple version of this is they just can't fight. There's not enough in the tank right now versus this incredibly strong mid-game lineup that Gaimin Gladiators have right now. 10,000 gold, minute 16. Remember when I said it was going to be the exact same game as the last one? Everybody remembers that.
Waiting Rift onto 2, Thompson with very little mana, and there is the Pit of Malice. He can use the phase shift and be able to Illusory Lure out. The Whitemon, nice block, but there's not going to be any follow-up. Yeah, Pit of Malice against any mobility hero is so hard to deal with.
It's a problem when the highlights for Tundra right now is not dying. I was like, that was a good play because Puck got away. That really seems to be the state of the game. Pure, let's see if he can make a good play and escape this one.
Yep, he's going to attempt to TP out. The Burrow Strike from Quinn, and the Scatter Blast eviscerates him.
Oh, Thompson already
and Thompson will have to use his coil in retreat. He's going to take a drinking buddies and run away.
The fact that he jaunted already is going to force him to use ult. So now they don't have that either if they were ever planning on anything. I suppose with the current game state and their inability to fight, I guess it doesn't really matter that much having the key cooldown on that. In a lot of other situations, that would have been a bigger deal.
Oh boy,
where are they going?
5-man gate to kill Soxa! Get wrecked! They really hate him! And now the mid lane, they will try to push their advantage even more. They haven't even gone for the first Roche yet. This has just spiraled out of control. Quinn gonna force Thompson out again. And he now has
Ramsey's top as well. I wonder if there's going to be any rotation here. This is going to be a quite long chase, but they're going to start it off with a pit. TP coming in from Sand King and out from the south.
Yeah,
Ramses.
And Quinn has now made his way over. This should be the death of Ramses again.
Surrounded
Actually
on
uses
all
his
sides.
boats. But yeah, Tundra. Ooh, this is looking really rough. I was expecting, I mean, obviously it could get turned around here, but ever since we mentioned that Pure was the best player in this tournament, Cinderin.
You should have never said it.
You agreed with me. You're part of this curse.
That's what friends do.
Yeah.
Like, do I look good in this shirt?
Boy.
Yeah, you do. But
Black Hole ensures yet another kill. Whitemon tried for some sort of a save, but he might just get run down as well. Meanwhile, they are just dropping like flies. Epicenter not going to do that much damage because of the disruption, as Pure trying to keep Quinn at arm's length. but his arms are really gangly and long, Cinderin. He's gonna get the burrow strike and the kill. He has ridiculous wingspan.
What if Gaimin were tricking everyone the whole tournament into banning their second best strategy? And now they gave them their best strategy by banning all their heroes.
The kisses come from very far away. Quinn with a double kill. My goodness, this is not even remotely close. What happened? This is the upper bracket semis.
Yep.
Gaimin are making Tundra look just awful. But Gaimin, they are just on another level right now, it feels like. They get the tier 3, and now looking for their first set of racks at 19 minutes. No Roche even attempted yet, by the way.
They feel invincible. They're just way too
feels like they are.
Sand King Bloodstone, you put a Solar Crest on him, you have Underlord next to him with Greaves. You have Glimmer on the Snapfire. The Alchemist himself already has a Manta as well, so he has a self-dispel when he gets jumped on to be in front and cause confusion. I mean, it's like a broken record, but genuinely, Tundra cannot fight. It's just not possible. So what do you do? This is the catch-22 you face yourself with in a lot of Gaming Gladiators games is, well, when the early game goes poorly and you reach this mid game and you can't fight them, what is your plan actually?
Yeah.
Are you going to play keep away and try to out-farm them and just dodge them? Are you even going to be able to match their farming speed in that case because they control 75% of the map? Are you going to just YOLO into a fight and hope for the best? What if they never split up so you can't get a skirmish?
Oh boy. Pure gets stunned. Whitemon doing a nice job of blocking off one hero, but the problem is there's many others to contest with. That's going to be 2 quick kills again for Gaimin. It is 19-2. And coming into this, Tundra have been looking really good too. So it just goes to show, and it's funny, every time we cast Gaming Gladiators, like, oh, this is a really bad matchup for the other team. They can't handle it. What's a good matchup against Gaimin? That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, how many tournaments have we seen them have a semi-slow start, which was also the case in the Road to International this time. It wasn't like that a flawless group stage or anything.
Yeah.
They've just learned from the games they lost. They've come to the right conclusions, as they seem to do in general. And they've leveled up super hard. So it's not necessarily the other teams having a poor showing or being worse. It's just Gaming Gladiators are bringing a completely different level to the table than they did on day 1.
Yeah.
And now you're the ones who need to play catch-up. In this game, unlikely to happen, but of course, this is an upper bracket match, so you have a second shot as Tundra, unless you pull off the most ridiculous comeback of this tournament while being down 20k gold minute 21.
Yeah.
Unless you can somehow find this way. The silver lining is there's a lot of tape to study, a lot to learn, and arguably this is more than likely going to be the hardest matchup you're playing until you might meet them again ultimately.
Most likely, that is correct. Dyrachyo, okay. Do they have the damage to kill him off? No, he dances off the X. Wow, my God. Perfect timing, and now the runaround is here. Quinn, the Epi, gonna slow Ramses to a crawl. A black hole. Everybody's just having their own separate fights, Cinderin. Thompson is dead. Ramses is next. As Celery eventually will fall. That is the 3rd kill for Tundra now. Saksa gets beat down to a pulp. And it looks like Pure and company will just have to try and run away. As Whitemon inside. Okay. Couple buybacks. They absolutely have to get a kill here on a core hero. Nice disruption from Saksa to dodge the concoction, but maybe probably too little too late. So we do have the 3-2-2, by the way. Let's hear some cheers in the crowd for that. And Pure with the gust. Stuck inside to get drinking buddies. Snowball back into it, though. He gets rooted again. Oh, dear. That is not what you want to see.
It was better than not snowballing. Instead, they would have both been stunned. Now it was only the Drow that died.
Yeah, screw the drought.
All right.
And Gaimin, again, no Roche attempt in this game. They are not afraid to continue on here. Here comes the boat from Ramses. We're trying to work on this Aghanim Scepter for quite a while, but it is not coming together for him. A punch into the air. Quinn taking very little damage. He's unkillable at this point. Ramses been rooted 3 or 4 times in this engagement, it feels like, is the coil already used, and they just stood there because they don't do any damage. The second Rax is upon Gaimin to claim for themselves.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
As Tundra can only look on, although Gaimin are backing away. Perhaps a soft reset. Another beautiful Manta, man.
What was that game called where you had to Manta dodge things? Training Polygon? He's been playing that. He's been playing Training Polygon.
All right, so what is your voice line? Since we have plenty of time to talk now, what does your voice line mean exactly?
It means cheers.
It means cheers.
Yes.
Okay, that's something that people hold that thought. Celery, okay. Got a lot of kisses going on. He's actually basically making out with them with so many kisses. Get a room already as Ramses stuck in a horrible position. They're just going to call it GG. Gaimin Gladiators absolutely destroy Tundra 2-0, and they're going to go to the upper bracket finals here at TI to face off against Team Liquid.
And if you showed up in the audience tonight and you were like, man, we have to get dinner before we watch this show, the restaurants are going to be closed, I have good news for you. It's 8 minutes to 9, so you might still